Edward Newgate. Edward Newgate, better known as Whitebeard, was one of the original four emperors and was widely regarded as the strongest man in the world. Long before the great pirate era reached its peak, he sailed under the legendary Rocks pirates, alongside future emperors like Kaido and Big Mom. After the fall of the Rocks crew at God Valley, Whitebeard chose a different path from the others. Rather than chasing domination or endless wealth, he formed the Whitebeard Pirates and built one of the most respected crews ever to sail the Grand Line. Unlike many pirates, Whitebeard had no desire to become the Pirate King. Growing up as an orphan on the poor island of Sphinx, he understood what it meant to have no family. Because of that, his greatest dream was to create one of his own. Every member of the Whitebeard Pirates was treated as a son, and they returned that loyalty with complete devotion. This bond became one of the defining traits of his crew and earned him the respect of allies and enemies alike. Whitebeard possessed the Guragura no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit considered one of the most destructive powers in existence. It allowed him to generate massive earthquakes and shock waves powerful enough to split the sea, crack islands apart, and even divide the sky when clashing with another emperor. His raw physical strength was equally terrifying. Even without relying on his devil fruit, Whitebeard could overpower some of the world's strongest fighters, using only his Neginata and advanced haki. Throughout his life, Whitebeard frequently clashed with Goldie Roger. Although they were rivals, they shared mutual respect and often fought as equals. Their legendary battles became part of pirate history, yet they were also capable of sitting together peacefully after combat, showing the unique bond between two of the greatest pirates of their era. Roger even trusted Whitebeard enough to reveal the existence of the Will of D and the importance of the final island. Despite growing older and suffering from a serious illness, Whitebeard remained one of the four emperors for decades. His influence stretched across the New World, where countless islands flew his flag for protection. Many nations preferred to place themselves under Whitebeard's protection because his name alone kept rival pirates away. He rarely abused this power, instead acting as a guardian for those who relied on him. His greatest test came during the Summit War at Marineford after Port Gasti Ace was sentenced to execution. Ace was not only the son of Goldie Roger, but also one of Whitebeard's beloved sons. Refusing to abandon his family, Whitebeard launched a full-scale assault against Marine headquarters, despite knowing he was walking into a trap. The battle became one of the largest conflicts in One Piece history. Even while connected to life support machines before the war, Whitebeard fought against 3 admirals, countless vice admirals, and the full strength of the Marines. He endured hundreds of sword wounds, bullet wounds, and cannon blasts while continuing to protect his crew. After Ace was killed, Whitebeard stayed behind to ensure his sons could escape, sacrificing himself to hold back the enemy. His final confrontation came against Marshal D. Teach, better known as Blackbeard. Furious at Teach's betrayal and the death of Ace, Whitebeard nearly defeated his former subordinate despite his weakened condition. However, Blackbeard and his entire crew attacked together, finally bringing the legendary pirate down. Even in death, Whitebeard never fell onto his back. Every wound on his body came from the front, proving that he never tried to flee from battle. Before dying, he declared that the One Piece was real, confirming the existence of the world's greatest treasure. Those final words reignited the dreams of countless pirates and pushed the Great Pirate Era into an entirely new chapter. Whitebeard's legacy remains unmatched, not because he conquered the world, but because he became the father that thousands of people never had. Charlotte Lin Lin. Charlotte Lin Lin, better known as Big Mom, is one of the original 4 emperors and the captain of the Big Mom Pirates. She ruled over the Tato Land Archipelago, a kingdom made up of dozens of islands where every race could supposedly live together in peace. Behind that dream, however, stood one of the most terrifying pirates in history. Her overwhelming strength, unpredictable personality, and enormous influence made her one of the greatest powers in the New World for decades. Big Mom's incredible power was apparent from the moment she was born. Even as a child, she possessed physical strength that ordinary giants could not match. At just 5 years old, she accidentally destroyed an Elba village and defeated several giant warriors during an uncontrollable emotional outburst. These events shocked everyone who witnessed them and revealed that Lin Lin was unlike any normal human. Despite her frightening strength, she simply wanted friends and family, although her childish behavior often led to devastating consequences. After being abandoned by her parents, Lin was taken to Sheep's House, an orphanage run by Mother Carmel. Carmel appeared kind and caring, but she secretly sold gifted children to the world government. Lin deeply admired her and believed she had finally found a loving family. During one of her birthday celebrations, Lin entered another uncontrollable eating frenzy. When she regained consciousness, Mother Carmel and every orphan had mysteriously disappeared. Although the truth was never shown directly, it was strongly implied that Lin accidentally consumed them, unknowingly inheriting Carmel's devil fruit power. That power was the Suru no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allowed Big Mom to manipulate souls. She could remove a person's lifespan if they feared her, transferring those souls into animals, objects, or even natural elements. This ability created living beings known as homies, each with its own personality. Among her strongest creations were Prometheus, a living sun that controlled fire, Zeus, a thundercloud capable of generating massive lightning attacks, and Napoleon, the hat she wore that could transform into a powerful sword. As she grew older, Big Mom built one of the largest pirate organizations in the world. Rather than recruiting strangers, she expanded her crew by having dozens of children with many different husbands. Each child inherited unique talents and served as an officer within the Big Mom Pirates. Powerful commanders such as Katakuri, Smoothie, Cracker, and Perospero helped maintain her control over Totoland, making her crew one of the strongest among the four emperors. Unlike Kaido, who ruled through fear alone, Big Mom wanted to create a country where every race could live together equally. Humans, fishmen, long arms, long legs, mink tribe members, and many other races lived within Totoland. However, this peaceful image came at a terrible cost. Every citizen was forced to surrender part of their lifespan as payment for living under her protection. Those who refused risked losing their lives, proving that her version of peace depended entirely on fear. Big Mom also possessed incredibly advanced haki. Her armament and conqueror's haki allowed her to overpower even elite fighters, while her natural durability made her almost impossible to injure. Ordinary attacks had virtually no effect on her body, forcing opponents to search for rare weaknesses instead of relying on brute force. Her influence eventually collided with Monkey D. Luffy after the events on Whole Cake Island. Luffy challenged her authority by defeating two of her strongest commanders and escaping Totoland despite overwhelming odds. This humiliation pushed Big Mom into forming an alliance with Kaido, hoping to claim the One Piece together and dominate the world. During the raid on Onigashima, Big Mom fought against Eustace Kid and Trafalgar Law. Both captains awakened their devil fruit powers during the battle, combining their abilities to overwhelm the Emperor after an exhausting fight. Rather than defeating her through raw strength alone, they forced Big Mom deep beneath Wano, where massive explosions ended her reign. Although her final fate remains uncertain, Big Mom's influence on the One Piece world cannot be denied. She ruled the seas for decades, commanded one of history's strongest pirate crews, and stood among the few individuals powerful enough to challenge Whitebeard, Kaido, and Shanks. Her dream of creating a world where every race could live together was ultimately overshadowed by her own cruelty, making her one of the most tragic and dangerous emperors the seas have ever known. Kaido. Kaido, known throughout the world as the strongest creature alive, was one of the original four emperors and the captain of the Beast Pirates. His reputation was built on overwhelming physical strength, incredible durability, and an unmatched desire for battle. Legends claim that if it was a one-on-one fight, Kaido would always win. Over the years, he transformed the isolated nation of Wano into his personal fortress, ruling through fear while preparing for the greatest war the world had ever seen. Kaido's story began in the Vodka Kingdom, where he displayed extraordinary strength from a very young age. He became a soldier as a child and quickly proved himself to be far stronger than anyone around him. Instead of valuing his abilities, the kingdom repeatedly offered him to the Marines in exchange for political favors. Kaido escaped every time, turning capture into little more than an inconvenience. His repeated escapes became legendary, and even before reaching adulthood, he had already earned the reputation of an unstoppable warrior. Eventually, Kaido caught the attention of Rox D. Sebek and joined the infamous Rox Pirates. This crew included future legends such as Whitebeard, Big Mom, Shiki, and Captain John. Although the crew was filled with incredibly powerful pirates, they constantly fought among themselves because each member possessed enormous ambition. Their journey came to an end during the God Valley incident, where the combined forces of Gold D. Roger and Monkey D. Garp defeated Rocks. After the crew disbanded, Kaido began building his own empire. One of the most important moments in Kaido's life came when Big Mom gave him the mythical Zone Fish fruit, model Azure Dragon, during the God Valley incident. Kaido later admitted that he owed her a lifelong debt because of that gift. The devil fruit granted him the ability to transform into a gigantic eastern dragon capable of flying through the sky by creating flame clouds. In this form, he could unleash devastating attacks such as Bolo Breath, summon storms, create tornadoes, and destroy entire mountains with a single blast. Like all mythical Zoan users, Kaido possessed extraordinary regeneration and endurance. Combined with his already monstrous body, these abilities made him nearly impossible to defeat. Countless enemies attempted to execute him over the years. He was captured by both the Marines and rival pirates dozens of times. Yet every execution failed. Swords shattered against his skin, ropes could not hold him, and even falling from Sky Island only left him with a headache. These stories only strengthened his legendary status. Kaido believed that strength alone determined a person's value. He had little respect for weakness and viewed war as the ultimate test of human potential. Rather than dreaming of treasure or peaceful rule, he wanted to create a world consumed by endless conflict. He believed only through constant battle could true legends be born, and he hoped to die in a glorious war worthy of his name, much like Whitebeard and Roger. To build the ultimate pirate army, Kaido formed the Beast Pirates, an organization based entirely on power. Members earned higher positions by defeating stronger opponents, creating an environment where only the strongest survived. He also partnered with Don Quixote do Flamingo to mass-produce artificial smile devil fruits. These fruits allowed thousands of soldiers to gain Zoan abilities, dramatically increasing the military strength of his crew despite their dangerous side effects. Kaido eventually allied with the Shogun Orochi to seize complete control of Wano. While Orochi ruled publicly, Kaido controlled everything from the shadows. The country's citizens suffered under years of oppression, forced labor, and starvation, while Kaido transformed Wano into a giant weapons factory for future wars. Anyone who opposed him was imprisoned or executed, while powerful samurai were crushed without mercy. Despite his cruelty, Kaido respected strong opponents. He admired warriors like Kazuki Oden, Whitebeard, Roger, Rocks, and Shanks because they possessed both strength and determination. Throughout the series, Kaido repeatedly searched for someone capable of defeating him, believing that Joy Boy would eventually appear and change the world. That prediction came true during the raid on Onigashima. Kaido fought continuously against the 9 Red Scabbards, the Worst Generation, Yamato, and finally Monkey D and Luffy. Even after battling countless powerful opponents without rest, he continued to dominate the battlefield. However, everything changed when Luffy awakened the true power of the human fruit, model Nika, unlocking Gear 5th. The final battle between Kaido and Luffy became one of the greatest fights in One Piece history. Kaido unleashed his strongest techniques, including his gigantic flaming drum dragon form, while Luffy fought with complete freedom using his awakened abilities. In the end, Luffy's Bajrang gun overpowered Kaido's final attack, sending the Emperor deep beneath Wano alongside Big Mom. Kaido's defeat ended more than 20 years of tyranny over Wano and marked the collapse of one of the world's greatest pirate empires. Although his current fate remains unknown, Kaido's legacy as the strongest creature alive continues to shape the world of One Piece. His incredible strength, unbreakable will, and relentless pursuit of battle ensured that he would be remembered as one of the greatest emperors to ever rule the seas. Shanks. Shanks is one of the original 4 emperors and the captain of the Red Hair Pirates. Among all the emperors, he is perhaps the most mysterious. Unlike Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, Blackbeard, or Luffy, Shanks has never been shown possessing a devil fruit. Instead, he relies entirely on his mastery of haki, exceptional swordsmanship, and years of combat experience. His reputation is so great that even the world government and the strongest pirates think carefully before challenging him. Shanks's journey began long before he became an emperor. As a child, he sailed aboard the Oro Jackson under the command of Goldie Roger, alongside another apprentice, Buggy. During those years, Shanks witnessed many of the greatest adventures in pirate history, including Roger's journey to Laugh-Tale. Although he was unable to accompany Roger to the final island because Buggy became ill, Shanks inherited Roger's ideals and carried them into the next generation. After Roger's execution, Shanks formed the Red Hair Pirates. Unlike many pirate crews, the Red Hair Pirates remained relatively small, but consisted entirely of elite fighters. Every major officer possessed tremendous combat ability, allowing the crew to compete with much larger pirate organizations. Members such as Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo, Yasopp, and the rest of the officers became famous throughout the New World for their strength and teamwork. One of the most important moments in Shanks' life occurred in Fuchsia Village when he met a young Monkey D. Luffy. At first, Luffy constantly admired Shanks and dreamed of joining his crew, but Shanks believed he was still too young to become a pirate. Everything changed when Luffy was attacked by a Sea King while trying to prove his courage. Shanks saved the boy's life but sacrificed his own left arm in the process. Before leaving the village, he entrusted Luffy with Roger's straw hat, asking him to return it only after becoming a great pirate. That single act inspired Luffy to begin the journey that would eventually lead him to becoming an emperor himself. Years later, Shanks became one of the four emperors, controlling a large portion of the New World. Unlike other emperors who ruled vast territories through fear, Shanks earned respect through diplomacy and overwhelming strength. Many islands willingly accepted his protection, knowing that his presence alone discouraged attacks from rival pirates. Although Shanks rarely fights, every appearance reminds the world why he stands at the top of piracy. His greatest weapon is his extraordinary haki. His Conqueror's haki is considered one of the strongest ever seen, capable of knocking out powerful opponents from enormous distances and even damaging physical objects. During his visit to Whitebeard's ship, the clash between their Conqueror's haki split the heavens themselves, a feat only achieved by the strongest individuals in the series. Shanks is equally skilled with armament and observation haki. His mastery allows him to fight on equal footing with the world's greatest swordsman, despite lacking any devil fruit abilities. His primary weapon is the Saber Griffin, which he uses with incredible speed and precision. This balance of swordsmanship and haki makes him one of the few characters capable of challenging almost anyone in direct combat. Perhaps Shanks' greatest display of influence came during the Summit War at Marineford. After Whitebeard's death and the chaos caused by Blackbeard, Shanks arrived with his crew and simply demanded that the war end. Neither the Marines nor the pirates wished to continue fighting against him. Fleet Admiral Sengoku accepted his request, bringing one of the bloodiest battles in history to an immediate conclusion. Very few people in the One Piece world possess enough authority to stop a war with nothing more than their presence. Shanks also shares an unusual relationship with the world government. Unlike other pirates, he has been able to meet privately with the five elders inside Mary Geoise. The exact reason for this meeting remains unknown, but it suggests that Shanks possesses knowledge or influence unlike any other emperor. His true goals remain one of the greatest mysteries in the series. Following the fall of Kaido and Big Mom, Shanks finally declared that it was time to claim the One Piece. Shortly afterward, he demonstrated his overwhelming power by defeating Eustace Kid and his entire crew with a single divine departure, the same legendary technique once used by Goldie Roger. The attack instantly destroyed Kid's ambitions and reminded the world that Shanks remains one of the strongest pirates alive. Although much about Shanks is still unknown, his impact on the story has been enormous. He inspired the future Pirate King, maintained peace between some of the world's strongest forces, and continues to stand among the greatest pirates of the modern era. As the race for the One Piece enters its final stage, Shanks remains one of the most important figures whose true role has yet to be fully revealed. Marshall D. Teach, better known as Blackbeard, is one of the current four emperors and the captain of the Blackbeard Pirates. Unlike the other emperors, Blackbeard did not build his empire through honor or loyalty. Instead, every major step of his rise came through careful planning, betrayal, and taking advantage of opportunities that others overlooked. His ambition has always been greater than anyone around him, and he believes that fate favors those willing to seize it. Teach first appeared as an ordinary member of the Whitebeard Pirates, serving under the 2nd Division for more than 20 years. During that time, he deliberately kept a low profile, hiding his true strength while waiting for one specific devil fruit to appear. He understood that acting too early would only draw attention, so he patiently remained in the shadows while searching for the power he desired above all else. Everything changed when the dark fruit finally appeared aboard Whitebeard's ship. The fruit was found by Thatch, the commander of the 4th Division. Knowing this was the opportunity he had waited decades for, Teach murdered Thatch and stole the devil fruit before fleeing the crew. This single act not only betrayed Whitebeard's family, but also broke one of the crew's most important rules. From that moment onward, Blackbeard became one of Whitebeard's greatest enemies. The Yami Yami no Mi is considered one of the most unique Loja-type devil fruits ever introduced. Unlike other Loja users, Teach cannot allow attacks to pass harmlessly through his body. Instead, his darkness absorbs everything around it, including buildings, weapons, explosions, and even other devil fruit abilities. One of its greatest strengths is the ability to temporarily cancel another person's devil fruit powers through direct contact, making even the strongest users vulnerable in close combat. Although this ability is incredibly powerful, it comes with a major drawback. Because Teach cannot become intangible like other Loja users, he experiences physical pain more intensely than normal people. Despite this weakness, he willingly accepted the trade-off because he believed the fruit's offensive abilities were unmatched. After gaining the dark fruit, Teach gathered a small crew and began searching for greater opportunities. His first major objective was to capture a pirate with a bounty high enough to earn the trust of the world government. Initially, he intended to capture Monkey D. Luffy, but fate led him to Portgas D. Ace instead. Their battle on Bonaro Island became one of the series' turning points. Using the power of darkness, Teach defeated Ace and handed him over to the Marines, earning the title of Warlord of the Sea. However, becoming a warlord was never his true goal. Teach simply used the position to infiltrate the underwater prison Impel Down. There, he recruited some of the world's most dangerous criminals from level 6, strengthening his crew with legendary pirates who had been erased from history. This carefully planned move dramatically increased the power of the Blackbeard pirates almost overnight. Teach then arrived at Marineford during the final stages of the Summit War. While Whitebeard was already exhausted from battling the Marines, Teach confronted his former captain. Despite Whitebeard's overwhelming strength, Blackbeard and his crew attacked together until the legendary Emperor finally fell. After Whitebeard's death, Teach accomplished something that shocked the entire world. Using a mysterious and still unexplained method, Blackbeard stole Whitebeard's devil fruit, the Gura Gura no Mi. This made him the first known person in history to possess the powers of 2 devil fruits at the same time. With the destructive force of earthquakes combined with the darkness of the Yami Yami no Mi, Teach instantly became one of the most dangerous individuals alive. Following the Summit War, Blackbeard rapidly expanded his territory throughout the New World. He defeated the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates during the Payback War, taking control of many islands that had once belonged to Whitebeard. His growing influence eventually led the world government to recognize him as one of the new 4 emperors. Unlike Whitebeard or Shanks, Blackbeard rules almost entirely through fear and ambition. His crew is filled with ruthless criminals who pursue power above everything else. Each Titanic captain possesses dangerous abilities, making the Blackbeard pirates one of the strongest pirate crews in existence. Rather than acting like a family, the crew functions as a collection of powerful individuals united by shared ambition. One of Teach's greatest strengths is his ability to recognize opportunity. Whether manipulating the Marines, infiltrating Impel Down, stealing powerful devil fruits, or attacking weakened enemies, he consistently places himself in situations where he can gain the greatest possible reward. His famous belief that people's dreams never end reflects his willingness to chase impossible goals regardless of the risks involved. As the final saga unfolds, Blackbeard has become one of the greatest obstacles standing between Monkey D. Luffy and the One Piece. With 2 of the strongest devil fruits in history, a terrifying pirate crew, and an ambition that rivals even the greatest legends, Marshal D. Teach continues to reshape the world through chaos. More than any other emperor, he represents the dark side of piracy, proving that patience, deception, and ruthless ambition can sometimes be just as powerful as strength itself. Monkey D. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy became one of the four emperors after defeating Kaido during the raid on Onigashima, marking the beginning of a new era in piracy. As the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, Luffy spent years traveling across the Grand Line, defeating powerful enemies, liberating oppressed nations, and gathering loyal companions. Unlike most emperors who built their empires through fear or political influence, Luffy earned his position by inspiring people wherever he went. His willingness to risk everything for his friends and complete strangers gradually turned him into one of the world's most influential pirates. Luffy's journey began in Fuchsia Village, where he admired the red-hair pirates led by Shanks. After accidentally eating what everyone believed was the gum-gum fruit, Luffy gained a body made entirely of rubber. Although he lost the ability to swim, he developed countless creative fighting techniques by combining his elastic body with relentless determination. Before leaving the village, Shanks entrusted Luffy with the famous straw hat, once worn by Goldie Roger, asking him to return it only after becoming a great pirate. Setting sail alone, Luffy began assembling a crew unlike any other. Instead of choosing followers based solely on strength, he searched for people with dreams of their own. Over time, swordsman Roronoa Zoro, navigator Nami, sniper Usopp, cook Sanji, Dr. Chopper, archaeologist Nico Robin, shipwright Frankie, musician Brooke, and helmsman Jinbe joined him. Together they became known as the Straw Hat Pirates, a crew united by trust rather than fear. As Luffy traveled through the Grand Line, he repeatedly challenged organizations far stronger than himself. He defeated Crocodile and freed the kingdom of Alabasta, declared war on the world government to rescue Nico Robin at Enies Lobby, defeated Gecko Maria at Thriller Bark, and survived countless encounters with powerful Marines and warlords. Every victory increased his reputation, but more importantly, it strengthened the loyalty of those around him. Luffy's devil fruit was originally believed to be the Gomu Gomu no Mi, a paramecia-type fruit that granted a rubber body. For years, both pirates and the world government believed this to be its true identity. However, during the battle against Kaido, one of the greatest secrets in One Piece history was finally revealed. The fruit was actually the mythical Zoan human fruit, model Nika, a legendary devil fruit whose real name had been hidden by the world government for centuries. Upon awakening the fruit, Luffy entered Gear 5th, a transformation unlike any other seen in the series. Rather than simply increasing his physical strength, Gear 5th gave Luffy complete freedom over his body and surroundings. He could stretch, reshape, and manipulate the environment with cartoon-like creativity while fighting with a smile. According to the Gorosei, this awakening represented the return of the legendary sun god Nika, a warrior said to bring freedom and laughter to oppressed people. Long before awakening his devil fruit, Luffy had already developed remarkable combat abilities. During the 2-year training period under Silver's Rayleigh, he mastered all 3 forms of haki. His observation haki allowed him to predict enemy movements, while his armament haki greatly enhanced his attacks and defenses. Most importantly, Luffy possessed the rare Conqueror's haki, a power held only by those with the qualities of a king. As he grew stronger, he learned to code his attacks with advanced Conqueror's haki, allowing him to challenge even Kaido on equal terms. Unlike other emperors who ruled vast territories, Luffy never sought to conquer nations. Instead, countries such as Alabasta, Dressrosa, Fishman Island, Zub, and Wano willingly viewed him as a hero after he liberated them from tyranny. Without realizing it, Luffy built an enormous network of allies across the world. This influence grew even further after the formation of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, whose thousands of members pledged their loyalty to him, despite Luffy never asking for it. The battle that officially earned Luffy the title of Emperor took place in Wano. Facing Kaido, the strongest creature alive, Luffy suffered multiple defeats before finally awakening his devil fruit. Their final clash became one of the greatest battles in One Piece history. Luffy's gigantic Bajrang gun overwhelmed Kaido's flaming drum dragon technique, sending the Emperor deep beneath Wano and ending over 20 years of oppression. Following Kaido's defeat, the world government recognized Luffy as one of the new 4 emperors. His bounty increased dramatically, and newspapers around the world announced his rise alongside Buggy, Blackbeard, and Shanks. Although Luffy himself showed little interest in the title, the world now viewed him as one of the greatest pirates alive. What truly separates Luffy from every other emperor is not simply his strength, but the hope he brings to others. Wherever he travels, he inspires people to fight for their own freedom instead of relying on him. Friends, former enemies, kingdoms, and even powerful pirates have chosen to stand beside him because of his character rather than his authority. As the race for the One Piece enters its final stage, Monkey D. Luffy stands closer than ever to achieving his dream of becoming the Pirate King, carrying the will of those who came before him while leading the world into a new era of freedom. Buggy. Buggy is one of the current four emperors and the captain of the Buggy Pirates, as well as the public leader of Cross Guild. Unlike every other emperor, Buggy did not reach the top of the pirate world through overwhelming strength. Instead, his rise was driven by extraordinary luck, misunderstandings, and his ability to attract powerful allies. Although many people underestimate him because of his cowardly personality, Buggy has repeatedly found himself at the center of some of the most important events in pirate history. Long before becoming an emperor, Buggy sailed aboard the Oro Jackson as an apprentice under Goldie Roger. Alongside another young pirate named Shanks, he witnessed the adventures of the Pirate King's legendary crew. Although Buggy constantly argued with Shanks, the two shared many experiences during Roger's final voyage. However, Buggy never reached Laugh-Tale because he became ill shortly before the crew sailed to the island. This twist of fate prevented him from learning the truth about the One Piece alongside the rest of Roger's crew. During his time with Roger, Buggy accidentally ate the Barabar no Mi, or chop-chop fruit. This paramecia-type devil fruit allowed him to separate his body into floating pieces while remaining completely immune to slashing attacks. Although the ability initially seemed unusual compared to more destructive devil fruits, Buggy gradually learned to use it creatively in battle. His detached limbs could attack from different directions, and even skilled swordsmen found it difficult to defeat someone who could not be cut. After Roger's execution, Buggy formed his own pirate crew and spent years searching for treasure rather than chasing glory. His greatest ambition was never to become Pirate King, but to acquire wealth and live comfortably. This obsession with treasure often led him into trouble, especially after crossing paths with Monkey D. Luffy in Orangetown. Although Luffy defeated him early in the series, Buggy's story was far from over. His next major appearance came during the Impel Down arc. Imprisoned in the world's greatest underwater prison, Buggy unexpectedly became one of the leaders of a massive escape alongside Luffy. Thanks to his charisma and incredible luck, hundreds of dangerous prisoners mistakenly believed Buggy to be a legendary pirate hiding his true strength. They willingly became his followers, dramatically increasing the size of his crew without Buggy ever intending it. Following the escape from Impel Down, Buggy arrived at Marineford during the Summit War. Throughout the battle, a series of misunderstandings caused Marines, pirates, and even the public to believe Buggy was playing a far greater role than he actually was. Because he had once sailed with Goldie Roger and appeared to have connections with powerful figures like Whitebeard and Shanks, his reputation skyrocketed. Even the world's newspapers portrayed him as one of the war's most influential participants. After the war, the world government offered Buggy a position as one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Taking full advantage of the opportunity, he established Buggy's Delivery, a mercenary company that rented out experienced pirates to countries around the world. The business became surprisingly successful, giving Buggy enormous financial resources and influence, despite his relatively modest combat abilities. Everything changed when the world government abolished the warlord system. As the Marines prepared to arrest former warlords, Buggy unexpectedly became involved with Crocodile and Draco Mihawk. Together they founded Cross Guild, an organization that completely reversed the balance of power by placing bounties on Marine officers instead of pirates. This bold move shocked the entire world and made the Marines themselves targets. Although Crocodile and Mihawk were the true founders of Cross Guild, a series of comedic misunderstandings caused the public to believe Buggy was the organization's leader. Newspapers portrayed Mihawk, the world's strongest swordsman, and Crocodile, one of the most dangerous former warlords, as Buggy's subordinates. The world government accepted this false information and concluded that Buggy possessed enough influence to command 2 legendary pirates. As a result, Buggy was officially recognized as one of the new 4 emperors alongside Shanks, Blackbeard, and Monkey D. Luffy.